April 25th, 2013. The last PE class at a high school in Tianjin. 3 boys entered an abandoned dormitory to retrieve a badminton shuttlecock. When they came out, one of them had completely evaporated from the memory of the entire world. Today, we're talking about the Pan Bowen incident, perhaps the most widespread and deeply terrifying unsolved mystery of collective memory on the internet. Even today, 13 years later, no one can provide an answer that convinces everyone. With only 43 days left until the college entrance exam, the whole school was engulfed in a tense atmosphere of preparation. The PE teacher let everyone have free time. Those who wanted to study could return to the classroom. The blogger and his deskmate Xiao Wen didn't want to be cooped up, so they took their rackets to the sports field. They happened to run into the blogger's junior high classmate, Pan Bowen, who was playing with his classmate, Li Jun. The 4 hit it off and decided to play doubles. The midday sun was blinding, and soon they were sweating profusely, so they moved to the shade of the old dorm next door to continue playing. No one expected that this utterly ordinary decision would completely alter the course of 3 people's lives. During the game, Pan Bowen served with intense force, sending the shuttlecock flying. It landed perfectly inside the ventilation shaft of the old dorm. The shuttlecock was brand new, and Pan Bowen felt it was a waste, so he volunteered to go inside and get it. Finally, they agreed to let Xiao Wen watch the rackets outside, while the other 3 went into the building to search. That old dorm had long been abandoned. The door was ajar, and pushing it open brought a rush of cold air mixed with dust and mold. Even though it was noon, it was as dark as dusk inside. The 3 felt their way along the wall toward the basement. When they reached the stairs, they realized the path was completely blocked by a massive pile of discarded desks and chairs. The blogger felt a chill and suggested, "It's just a shuttlecock. Let's just leave it and go back." But Li Jun said, "We're already here. It won't hurt to look." With that, he climbed over the pile of desks, and Pan Bowen followed. Left with no choice, the blogger followed them down. The 3 fumbled around in the basement searching for the shuttlecock. But less than 2 minutes in, Pan Bowen suddenly stopped. He patted his pockets and said, "Oh no, I think I dropped my keys while climbing those desks. You guys keep looking. I'll go back and find them." He turned around and disappeared into the dark corridor. Little did they know, this ordinary separation would turn into an eternal farewell between 2 worlds. The blogger and Li Jun continued down the corridor, but things started to feel increasingly wrong. The basement corridor should have only been a few dozen meters long, but they walked for nearly 10 minutes, surrounded by the exact same concrete walls on both sides, without a single door. It was so quiet they could only hear each other's breathing and footsteps. Panic began to set in. They unconsciously sped up and finally broke into a run. After running for another 7 or 8 minutes, a blinding white light finally appeared ahead. They rushed out with all their might, only to realize they were at the school's back gate. But what puzzled the blogger was that students from the elementary school across the street were already heading home with their backpacks. During the first period of the afternoon, how could an elementary school be dismissed so early? Despite their doubts, their minds were solely focused on getting back to Pan Bowen and Xiao Wen. Without overthinking, they turned and ran back to the sports field. But when they arrived, out of breath, the shaded area was completely empty. Xiao Wen and the rackets were gone. The blogger assumed they had waited too long and gone back to class, so he and Li Jun parted ways and returned to their respective classrooms. As soon as he walked in, he saw Xiao Wen sitting at his desk. The blogger walked over and asked, "Why did you come back first? Did you find the shuttlecock?" Xiao Wen looked up, genuinely confused. "Bro, I waited for you guys for almost 2 hours. School is about to end. If I didn't come back, the teacher would have called roll." The blogger didn't process this and casually asked, "What about Pan Bowen? Did he come back with you?" That single sentence plunged the entire event into the bizarre. Xiao Wen frowned and asked weakly, "Who is Pan Bowen?" "Let me ask you this. If it were you, If your close friend who you just chatted with that morning and played sports with at noon suddenly told you they had no idea who this person was, what would be your first reaction? Would you doubt your own memory, or feel like the whole world was conspiring to trick you? The blogger's mind went blank. His first thought was that Xiao Wen was playing a joke. After all, they were dividing up rackets just moments ago. How could he not know him? But after asking 3 times, Xiao Wen's expression shifted from confusion to genuine concern. He even reached out to feel the blogger's forehead, asking if he had heat stroke or was hallucinating from exam stress. Seeing that Xiao Wen wasn't faking it, the blogger's heart sank. He turned and sprinted toward Pan Bowen's classroom. Right at their door, he bumped into Li Jun, who had gone into the building with them. Li Jun was deathly pale. When he saw the blogger, he rushed over, grabbed his arm, and said with a trembling voice, "We're done. Everyone in my class says they don't know Pan Bowen. Even the homeroom teacher said our class has never had this person." Both of them were stunned. Refusing to give up, they dragged the teacher to check the class roster. They flipped through the entire book, but the name Pan Bowen was nowhere to be found. What's more terrifying, the blogger clearly remembered Pan Bowen's student ID was number 32, but on the current roster, number 32 was the student who used to be 33. Everyone's ID had shifted up by 1. It was as if this person had never existed in this class. They ran to ask their junior high teachers and classmates, but everyone's answer was exactly the same. They had never heard the name Pan Bowen. The blogger ran home like a madman and dug out his junior high graduation photo. He remembered vividly that on the day of the photo, Pan Bowen was standing on his left with an arm around his shoulder. But in the photo, the person standing on his left was a boy he had absolutely no memory of. Trembling, he opened QQ and scoured his friends list and chat logs. Pan Bowen's avatar, their gaming history, their New Year's greetings, all vanished without a trace, as if he had never added this person. This is the most bone-chilling part of the whole incident. If it was just their memories acting up, then why would physical evidence that cannot lie, graduation photos, rosters, chat logs, also disappear? This is completely beyond human capability. From that day on, the incident hung like a heavy stone over the blogger and Li Jun's hearts. The teachers and students around them thought they had suffered mental breakdowns from the Gaokao pressure. No one believed them, and some even whispered behind their backs that they had gone crazy. The immense psychological pressure made it impossible for them to study, and both bombed their Gaokao, ending up at ordinary second-tier universities instead of the top ones they were aiming for. In the blink of an eye, 13 years passed. The incident went viral online, drawing countless people into the discussion. Some said they accidentally crossed into a parallel universe. Some said Pan Bowen was forever trapped in that dark basement. Others claimed the blogger just made it up to gain followers. Li Jun, one of the key witnesses, gave up long ago. He repeatedly urged the blogger to stop obsessing over it. So many years have passed, we have our own lives to live. We can't spend our whole lives in the shadow of this event. Finally, last year, the blogger posted a lengthy formal apology, stating that Pan Bowen was actually a fictional character born from his severe exam stress, that he made everything up and was deeply sorry for the trouble caused. But this apology didn't quell the controversy. Instead, it made more people believe the story was true. Why do I say this? Because if it was really a fabricated story for attention, he wouldn't need to keep the lie going for 13 years. Nor would he apologize right when the story was at its peak popularity. The helplessness and compromise between the lines of that apology cannot be faked. He wasn't admitting to lying, he was surrendering to the world. Because he knew that as long as he didn't admit Pan Bowen was fake, he would eventually be treated as a madman, and his life could never get back on track. To this day, there is no definitive conclusion to the truth behind the Pan Bowen incident. The most popular theory is the parallel universe. Some say when the three entered the basement, they accidentally triggered a time rift. Pan Bowen stayed in the original timeline, while the blogger and Li Jun somehow crossed into a parallel universe where Pan Bowen never existed. Others say it was Pan Bowen who time-traveled away. So naturally, we in this timeline have no memory of him. Some even speculate that in another world, Pan Bowen is posting online, asking why his two friends entered a basement and never came out, and why everyone keeps telling him those two people never existed. Of course, many have offered scientific explanations: dissociative amnesia, collective hallucination induced by extreme stress, or what we commonly call the Mandela effect. But in my opinion, the reason the Pan Bowen incident has stayed popular for so long isn't because of parallel universes or time travel. It's because it hits upon the deepest, most hidden fear in all of us. We've all had the experience of remembering something crystal clear, a person's face, the tone of a sentence. But when you ask those around you, everyone tells you that you remembered it wrong, that it never happened. That feeling of being isolated by the world, that terror of doubting your own memory, that sheer helplessness of knowing something was real, yet having everyone deny it, that is the most chilling aspect of this entire story. So, you in front of the screen, do you believe Pan Bowen really existed? Have you ever had a similar experience where a crystal clear memory was denied by everyone? Feel free to leave your story in the comments. Let's talk about it.